Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the man, the myth, the legend. Yes, Mr. Greg Dickerson. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. So thank you again for doing this from the road. People don't understand. You are out doing your thing, looking for deals, opportunities, and you still set aside this hour for us each week. So for me to you and the whole one rental at a time family, thank you for doing this every week.
Yeah, man. Glad to do it. Coming to you live from the field in an undisclosed location.
That is awesome. Well, hey, one of the things I knew I wanted to talk to you about today, because you are my entrepreneur through and through, from truck in the toolbox to a nice exit when you sold your business, is how do you handle fear? We saw fear rear its ugly head in the market last Friday. It is an emotion that I hear from new investors all the time. So I thought I'd ask the man who probably has stared fear in the face more than anyone I know and told fear to go pound sand. So how do you do it?
Yeah. So, I mean, fear comes in a lot of shapes and forms, and it's a living, breathing thing that can actually stop you from doing something. And it's obviously an emotional response. It's a survival instinct that we're born with. So, if you understand what fear is and what it keeps you from doing, and then it gets pretty easy to put it away. But fear is like anything else. Once you step into it, it gets easier each time. And as I evolved in my career from the beginning, I was a little nervous along the way, but not in the beginning of stepping out. When I just said, that's it, I'm going on my entrepreneurial journey, I really wasn't scared at all because I knew that there was an opportunity. I knew that I could solve problems. I knew that I was a hard worker. And I just knew that, everything was going to work out. So, it depends on what it is and the different levels of fear, and there's fear of heights, there's fear of, tight spaces, there's fear of going underwater. And the big thing that I look at is, what does fear keep you from? And what does it stop you from doing? And the last thing you want to do is be afraid to reach your full potential, be afraid to, reach what you were put on this earth to do. And for me, what I'm afraid of is reaching the end of my days and standing before God, and He shows me exactly what I could have been and what I could have done with the gifts that He gave me. That's what I'm afraid of. And there's a famous quote out there, do not fear death. It is the unlived life that you should be afraid of, or something along those lines. So, when it comes to fear, it's like anything else. You got to step into it. And the more you step into it, the less fearful you become and the more confident you become. And it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. Wow, there's a lot there. I had not heard that quote before. I'm going to go look that one up. Not sure I'm not sure I missed that one, but I did. Let's talk about investors, because that's it. We both mentor people that are looking to get started. When I sort of get there, sometimes it's almost like a shotgun, right? I'm interested. Thank you for all you do. I want to start, but here's my story, right? And everything in there, I have to assume is an accurate depiction of where they are now. But when I uncover it as an independent third party, doesn't know anything about the story other than the 500 or 1,000 words in this email, I often feel like I wish I could reach in and pull them out of their headspace, right? They spent all this time thinking about why they can't do something, as opposed to what I talk about every day, focus and daily discipline, right? I try to teach a skill of building confidence. And I think if you build confidence, fear recedes. But some people just get in this, I don't want to call it toxic, because that's the wrong word, I think, but they just get in this headspace where it just becomes dangerous to themselves, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you can talk yourself right into or right out of anything you want. Right. And if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. And I mean, it's a real thing. But so how do you put aside fear? How do you mitigate fear? And it's like you said, number one, it's building confidence. How do you build confidence? It's through education. You educate yourself. If you know what you're doing, if you're competent, if you have the skills, you have the training, and if you have somebody that's been there before you to help you from a mentor standpoint, coaching standpoint, that kind of mitigates it as well. But at the end of the day, you can have all of the training, you can have all of the tools, you can have all of the skills, and you can be ready to go. And the discipline you've got up every day, you're looking at deals, you're making offers. There's going to come a point where you have to write the check. And that, at the end of the day, is what separates the serious from the not serious. And I tell everybody that, everybody's interested. Everybody wants to get involved in a deal until it comes time to write the check. And, that's when you separate who's serious and who's not. And that's where you put the fear away. And really, at the end of the day, people aren't afraid of losing money. People aren't afraid of, you know, what could go wrong and all this and that. People are afraid to fail. That's the
Yeah.
number one thing people are afraid of when it comes to investing, starting businesses, doing that, is that they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to fail. They don't want to look bad and all that kind of stuff. And, here's the thing I tell everybody is, number one, understand where that comes from. Most of us were raised by, parents who, always look for what's wrong. And, we lived in a society where it's all about doing something wrong and getting caught and, that kind of thing. And what you really need to think about is, number one, what's the worst thing that can happen if this does go wrong? Okay. Just calculate it, understand the risk, understand the cost, and, make sure that you can withstand it. But a lot of people are just so deathly afraid of what somebody else is going to think, or looking bad or looking stupid or whatever. And you know what? When you're dead and gone, ain't nobody going to care. Nobody's going to be talking. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to be talking about you. So why are you worried about it now when they ain't going to be talking about you then? That's kind of how I
Mm.
put it. When you're dead and gone and away from here, other than a legacy that you leave, hopefully it's a good one. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to be talking about what you wore a month before you died, or a year
Mm.
before you died, or a year before that, or what you did, or what job you took, or what investment worked out or didn't work out. Of course, there's degrees of that. Bernie Madoff will never be forgotten, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But nor will Steve Jobs or Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos or anybody else. So you have those elements. But, if you
Mm.
think about the greats of our time, if they stopped and worried about being afraid, do you think that they would have ever achieved anything? So, at the end of the day, you got to figure out what's more important to you: reaching your goals, achieving what it is you need to achieve, taking care of what it is you need to take care of, or just, afraid of whatever that consequence is. And for most people, a lot of people are afraid of success. A lot of people are really scared of success and are afraid to succeed. A lot of people are, just comfortable and they don't want to step outside of that. Why mess with what's already working? Why try to take the next step, or, do something to increase my ability or capacity? And then other people are just afraid, to mess up.
Yeah.
And then some people are just lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things in there I want to go to kind of round out episode 1 is you mentioned interested. I actually have had this conversation with Anna Kelly a couple of times around interested and committed.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I'm really starting to anchor on. Are you interested or are you committed? Lots of people get lost in YouTube University or Bigger Pockets or the bookstore, and they're just interested. At some point, you got to write the offer per pen to paper, get ready to go. I talk about a buy box. I talk about learning your market. Once you know average, you're good to go. It's always a great time to do a great deal. I just want to ask everybody watching this, because again, we're at the end of the year, New Year's resolutions right around the corner. Are you interested in a better future, or are you committed? Because there is a big difference, right?
That's exactly right. And if you don't ask, you don't get. So you have to make offers. You have to ask for the deal. You have to ask for the sale. You have to ask for the close, and then you got to back it up with either your money, your time, your actions, your commitment, something. So start small, start where you're at, and that's how you build confidence and you build discipline, is just by starting somewhere. And that's what happens with a lot of people with the information overload and analysis paralysis, is they don't know what technique to use, what property to start with, what market to be in. Start where you are with what you understand, with where you're able to get started with what you know, and you're able to put into action today. So that's really the key. It doesn't matter what it is in any area of your life. It could be real estate investing, could be fitness, relationships, whatever it is. Just start, just do something, take action, and then build from there. And that's how it works.
Yeah, I love this conversation. Thank you for talking about fear. It's a big deal. How can people follow you and get part of your world?
GregDickerson.com. All my info there, YouTube, podcasts, and social media, GregDickerson.com.
Thank you.